Let's look at part 4 of chapter 3, the final section. Let's look at indefinite articles in a bit more formal way than we have before. The most common that we've been looking at are the singular un and une, which mean a. So we can say un chat, masculine, meaning a cat, or une chat, meaning a female cat. And so un or une mean a. Now they're also the number 1. So we could translate un chat means one cat, but one cat means a cat. So that's the singular form of the indefinite article, un or une. That's by far the most common, and it's translated a or an, depending on if the English word starts with a vowel or not. Now, the plural indefinite is a bit more tricky. We don't add s to un or une. We change it to de, which is, we've seen this word already as de plus les. The preposition de plus les contracts to de, but it's also the plural of the imperfect, of the indefinite article. So we could say des chats and des chats. Now that either one of those can be translated as cats. We don't really, or some cats, depending on the context. We have two ways of saying an indefinite number of cats. We can say either cats or some cats, or female cats or some female cats. So that's the plural. Now, so we've got the singular and the plural. There's also the third form of the indefinite article, meaning the partitive, meaning some of it. You don't have just one, you don't have the whole thing. You've got somewhere in between a part of it, and that is de plus the definite article. So de plus le would be du, de and la is de la, and if it's L apostrophe, we don't contract it, even if it's masculine, it would be de la. So we could talk about du gâteau. That would mean some cake. You can say je mange, I eat, du gâteau, some cake. You're not eating the whole cake. You're not eating, you're only eating some of it. So that's what we call it the partitive. Du gâteau would be some cake. De la confusion would be confusion or some confusion. Il y a de la confusion. There's some confusion. It's not total confusion, but there's some confusion. So that's the partitive, and so we'll see that fairly often, and you'll want to translate that generally as some. Now it's going to look an awful lot like of the, and you're going to have to decide on the context if it's of the cake or some cake. And sometimes it's just a question of smoothing things out. I eat of the cake versus I eat some cake. It's kind of the same idea. I eat of the cake is a bit ambiguous. Are you sticking your face into it, or are you just eating some cake? So, I'm eating some cake sounds a lot better in English than I'm eating of the cake. Now let's move on to a kind of tricky aspect of French, and that's possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are like my car, my truck, my cars, my trucks, things like that. And so we're going to look at trucks and cars, and we're going to use the example of truck and car because truck is camion, it's masculine, so camion is truck, and car is voiture, and it's feminine. And so if I wanted to say my truck, I would use, I use the possessive adjective mon, and that's masculine. And if I wanted to say my car, I would say ma voiture. And if I wanted to say either my trucks or my cars, I would use mes for the plural, mes voitures or mes camions. It's mes is either masculine or feminine. So I've got to pay attention to what the gender of what I'm saying is. Now, I might be masculine, I might be feminine, but the adjective, since it's an adjective, it has to agree with the noun. It has to agree with the gender of camion is masculine, voiture is feminine. The plural, we use the same one, may. Now, for your truck or your cars, it would be ton camion and ta voiture. Ton and ta, like it was mon and ma. And you can kind of see the M goes with like me. Ton and ta go with tu, the U form. And so it's ton, ta, and te for the plural. Now, the tricky one is if I want to say his, her, or its truck or car, I would say son camion. So we use the S for the third person singular, son camion, and sa voiture. And since camion is masculine, I use son. Voiture is feminine, I use sa. Voiture with an S is plural, so I use say. Say voiture. Now, this is tricky because if I say son camion, that doesn't necessarily mean his truck. It could mean her truck or its truck, because the masculine part of son isn't describing the person who owns it. It's agreeing in gender with the noun that it's describing, camion. So sa voiture doesn't mean necessarily her car. It could be his car also. So even though this is feminine, it's describing the noun voiture, which is feminine. And say voiture could be his cars or her cars or its cars. It wouldn't be their cars because the say is the singular with the plural form of the adjective. So this is really tricky, not because in English we put the gender in the adjective, in the possessive adjective. His means the owner is masculine. Her means that the owner is feminine. But in French, we don't have the gender of the owner. We have the gender of the object that we're describing as being owned. So if we talk about our car or our cars, it would be notre voiture, notre, meaning our, singular, and nos if we have more than one voiture. And that's the same for feminine and masculine. So notre camion and nos camion. Your car, you plural, would be votre voiture or votre camion. No difference between masculine and feminine. And vos voitures would be the plural. So notre goes to nos, votre goes to vos. And then their car or their cars or their truck or trucks would be leur and leur. So we've got this new form. Leur voiture means their car. Leur voiture means their cars. And it's the same for masculine or feminine. So what do we have to know? We have to note that the gender of the possessive adjective agrees with the gender of the noun, not the gender of the possessor. It agrees with the, it doesn't agree with the antecedent of the my, you, or his. It agrees with the noun that it's describing. Oops. Okay, now if that's not complicated enough, here's another factor that's going to make it even worse. Sometimes ma, ta, and sa, so that would be mine, your, my car, your car, his car, become mon, ton, or son. So when they're the feminine forms take on the masculine form in front of feminine nouns starting with a vowel. So if we have mon ami, so that's ami with an E as a female friend, my girlfriend. It's not ma ami because that wouldn't sound good. We change it to mon ami. Or another word for car is automobile, but it's feminine, and we would say mon automobile. So even though it's got the masculine ending, it's still a feminine noun because it just sounds better when we smooth it out. And the same thing happens in nouns with a mute H. Mon histoire, my story. Ton hélicoptère, that's your helicopter. Now, sometimes the H is not mute, and it's called what's aspirated, which doesn't have any effect on the translation, but you'll see things like ma-ash. That's ash. We've got a word hatchet from that, but it means axe. The ash is what's known as aspirated, but it's still silent. But it's not called a silent H. It's called an aspirated H. And there's a little pause, ma-ash, a little glottal stop there. And that's my axe. We don't change it to M-O-N. And because there's some words that are like that, but we're not going to pay much attention to them because it doesn't really affect the translation. Just know that sometimes in front of H words that are feminine, it's going to be mon, and sometimes, like mon hélicoptère, sometimes it's going to be ma, like ma-ash. Now let's talk about how we make nouns and adjectives plural. What we've been doing so far is we've just been adding an S and saying, aha, it's just like English. So that's what the main rule is. Add S to make a noun plural. If you're making an adjective, agree in number to make it plural, add S. But there's a few exceptions. Words that end in AU or AL, we don't add an S, we change it to AUX. So we add an X on AU, and in AL, we change the L to a U, which we've seen before, and add an X. So we can have un animal, an animal, or one animal, and the plural of one animal is going to be des animaux. So that's going to be some animals. One animal, some animals. Here we have le nouveau journal. That means the new newspaper. The plural would be les nouveaux journaux. So les we make plural by adding, le we make plural by adding S, so that becomes les. Nouveau ends in AU, so we add X, so les nouveaux. And journal ends in AL, like here, and we change that U, L to a U, and add X. Les nouveaux journaux, the new newspapers. Now here is a final set of exercises for Chapter 3. Write out all your answers and then check them with the next video.